The Cascade tear hit Kael like drinking lightning. Power flooded through him in waves that redefined possibility. Where before he'd been bound by physics, now he could feel the deep zone's substrate responding to his will like clay in the hands of a sculptor. The amphitheater's crystalline walls bent toward him slightly, recognizing something that spoke their alien language. Zone manipulation protocols active. Reality substrate, responsive. Caution, noise floor climbing. Move. Elena shouted, her rifle spitting energy at the pursuing core soldiers. Whatever you just did, we need that exit now. Kael pressed his palm against the nearest wall, feeling alien architecture flow through his consciousness. The passage Ghost had found was real, but it needed to be wider, large enough for 7 fragment bearers running for their lives. The stone responded like living tissue. Walls flowed apart, creating a tunnel that spiraled deeper into the deep zone's heart. The physics were wrong in exactly the right way, gravity pulling them forward instead of down, air pressure equalizing through principles that made atmospheric science weep. How are you doing this? Ren stared as Kael reshaped reality with casual gestures. I absorbed the barrier. Kael's voice carried harmonics that hadn't been there before. The energy signature gave me access to the zone's underlying structure. But even as he spoke, wrongness crept into his peripheral vision. Phantom signals flickered at the edges of perception, radio voices speaking languages that predated human speech, television broadcasts from civilizations that had never existed. The noise floor climbing like fever, corruption spreading through his enhanced awareness. Ghost signal detected. Source, unknown. Pattern, recursive. Ghost phased through the wall Kael had just created, her translucent form more solid than it should be. The passage leads toward the convergence point, but there's something else down there. Multiple fragment signatures, but they're not right. Sable's hard light constructs blazed as she covered their retreat. Defined, not right. Like echoes. Reflections of fragments that don't exist anymore. Kael guided them deeper, his new abilities letting him sense the zone's topology like a three-dimensional map. The core soldiers were falling behind, their reality anchors couldn't function properly in passages that existed in 17 dimensions simultaneously. But the corruption was getting worse. When he blinked, sometimes the world looked different. Elena became a pattern of electromagnetic frequencies. Ren's thoughts manifested as visible data streams. The zone itself pulsed with what might have been music if human ears could process 17-dimensional harmonics. Warning, perception bleeding detected. Frequency consciousness integration, 23%. Recommended action, immediate stabilization. Kael. Sable's voice cut through the alien whispers. Your eyes are doing something weird. He caught his reflection in a crystalline outcropping and barely suppressed a shout. His pupils had developed an inner light, the same frequency blue that marked active fragment integration. But more disturbing were the moments when his reflection moved independently, as if the frequency was learning to control motor functions without his conscious permission. I'm fine, he lied, reshaping another section of tunnel to avoid a gravity well that existed in negative space. Just processing the upgrade. Elena checked her chronometer as they ran. Time dilations increasing. We've been moving for 20 minutes, but my scanner says it's been 3 hours outside. The convergence effect, Petrov's archive voice observed through failing integration. His organic cables were sparking, reality anchors having damaged his connection to the alien substrate. 7 fragments in proximity create temporal recursion. Time becomes negotiable. Reflect stumbled as his mirror sight flickered between functional and dark. Fragment 5's crystalline growths were retracting as his connection to the deep zone weakened. Fragment 6 was becoming more visible, his person-shaped void solidifying into something almost human. Only Kael was getting stronger. Zone integration, 47%. Reality manipulation, stable. Noise floor, climbing. The corruption hit him in waves now. Brief moments where he perceived the world through the frequency's alien senses, where every human became a signal pattern waiting to be optimized, where the deep zone's chaotic architecture revealed itself as perfect mathematical harmony. For 30 seconds during the worst episode, Kael saw everything exactly as the frequency did. The world exploded into pure information. Elena wasn't a person but a complex waveform of electromagnetic activity. Sable blazed like a golden star, her conductor discipline creating harmonic frequencies that sang with joy. Ghost existed as a probability cloud, her phasing ability showing her as existing in 17 different states simultaneously. The deep zone wasn't alien architecture, it was music made solid. 17-dimensional symphony frozen into crystal and stone, each structure and note in a composition that spanned geological ages. And far below, in chambers that existed beneath the convergence point, he saw something that made the frequency recoil in shock. Director Hallam stood beside a harvesting pod that hummed with familiar frequencies. Inside the pod, barely alive but still functional, Fragment 4 pulsed with artificial rhythms. She hadn't come to the deep zone to capture them. She'd already found the next fragment.